Okay, so before we go any further, I should probably make something clear. I've brought this up several times in other videos, but I think considering a lot of the stuff we learned in this episode, I have a feeling things for it were explained in other media beforehand. So I should probably clarify to everybody that I do not follow the news cycle of the anime I watch. Rather, it's something I review, like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or a Vanguard, or just something I'm just watching on my own that I might give a video on later, like a Tack Top Destiny, or the Gorilla Harem Isekai thing. Yeah, I'm watching. I don't know. I pick weird shows sometimes. But yeah, no, for the most part, I prefer to enjoy my shows as they are presented to me. Whatever is presented in that 22 to 45 minute time span is how I want to experience. I don't want it to be that I only know something because of something else. I want it to be that the show did a good enough job with explaining to me why I am seeing what I'm seeing. So, yeah, if I get anything wrong that was presented here somewhere else, it's because the episode did not present it clearly. So yeah, let's just go right into it from there. Please do not make your mean comments about things I got wrong that was from like a random Facebook post. But yeah, no, so this episode is the Danji episode. That's the best way to say it. This is a Danji-focused episode. We get a couple appearances from our other characters throughout, but for the most part, this one is giving us our introduction into who Danji really is. Where did he come from? What was his past and backstory? And I quite like the way all of this was presented to us. I think they did a very good job of kind of like showing you a different side of Danji, something that was being built to. In the first season, Danji is always kind of like in charge. He's the leader. He's happy. He's fun. He wants everyone to have a good time. If he makes a mistake or does something goofy or silly, it's usually just a low-stakes thing that gets fixed 5 seconds later. Starting with episode 1 of this season, though, we saw a different Danji. We saw Danji now had to be serious. He had to take things very straightforward and to the point, and we saw that he wasn't happy about this. He didn't want to wear that suit and get on that train and say goodbye to Megumi, but he's got to do it. And so in this episode, we see what that has now led to. You see that the once confident, masculine, like cool Danji is just afraid to walk through a door. And I really just like that first shot of him just like kind of hesitating and scared and not knowing what to do. Because we saw the character so much of one way, when you then see him like this, it really like makes it like hit you harder. But yeah, no, so then we see that, what's that guy's name, like Zax or Zanji or whatever, the Orphist character. He's the Orphist guy. That's all that matters. You all got him at your local. He is Orphist guy. But yeah, no, so Orphist guy calls him, and it turns out he followed him or knew that's where he was going. I like the idea of this scene. I like the idea that one of them was just like, okay, Danji's obviously going to go here, so I'll just meet him there. Feels a bit more natural, but he didn't really do anything, which was a shame, because I thought, like, maybe this was going to be, like, their team-up bromance episode. Like, this guy was going to learn all about Danji's past with him, and you'd kind of get that other perspective on things, and at the end he'd be like, hey, chin up, bro. You've got a lot of fan art of you. But yeah, no, that's not what happened. He was just kind of there, and then he just kind of left. Maybe he'll report on all this to Tamari next week, but yeah, it doesn't really do anything for this episode at least. But yeah, no, so they go in where we find out Daybreak is this massive organization. This is their main headquarters. They've taken over a ton of territory in the Japanese Vanguard community, and they're just kind of like imposing their will. I do like the bit that, what's her name? I have it up. Mirai or whatever, the sister, is just like kind of this idol who's accumulated a huge following, 100k subscribers. That's a lot. Sometimes that feels like that's not a lot. Oh god, I'm a failure. But yeah, no, so we find out that she's just basically kind of taken over the Vanguard world, and they're like doing it both by force and through just kind of like, hey, look how cool we are. I kind of like that. That's a like intelligent way of doing it. It's not just one or the other. It's kind of a mixture of both. And this sort of like neat looking facade of a clean shop is broken when you see like a dude demanding his banner back. He's like, we made it together and no one has a job right now, so we can't make a new one. I don't know, the whole banner thing feels a little cheesy for a show that feels like it's trying to be set more in the real world. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like as someone who did not have his locals for a year, I can kind of understand that concept of losing what is sacred to you and the bond between you and your friends. I just feel like the banner thing is a little weak sauce to me, but it's really neither here nor there because it is then quickly glanced over as Haruka then comes in because Danji's like, I want to meet with Haruka. And so then Haruka just kind of shows up. Also, before that, of course, we had Haruka staring at a map saying that we're not the evil villains, or we're not trying to do this like villains. Clearly, what this is building to is that Haruka and Mirai are not villains. They are trying to do what they think is right. At the very least, Haruka is in the Tetsu role of the other two Vanguard interpretations of she's just trying to help the person she cares about. So, yeah, then she comes out, and and then the dude, no one even plays this deck in my local, so I don't even remember what the Grand Blue deck is called. But yeah, and then he shows up, and he's all like, haha, this is what we're doing. She's like, why didn't you conquer this area? Because my buddy's there, my gay boyfriend is there. Clearly where this is leading to is this guy is either just being paid and doesn't really care, or if he is on their side, still feels loyal and friends to Toya, and will therefore halfway through, when everyone's at their darkest moment, show up to reveal that he is siding with them, and that's how they will save the day. But yeah, no, that's what happens there. And then Haruka and Danji meet, and I really fucking dig this whole set of scenes. I don't know, it's just so cool the way she just sort of toys with him and kind of has him being putty in her hands, and the way she's kind of all like touchy-feely and kind of coming off as flirty. Like, there is a fairly strong sense of like sexual tension between these two, and it's kind of cool because usually in Vanguard when they do that it's yaoi. So just getting the idea of just like a woman who can have that power over like Danji, just this big, imposing, loud, masculine man, and she can just like sort of tease him like that is just kind of cool. I also think that there is a possibility it will turn out these two are brother and sister because she refers to his grandma as grandma. That doesn't always seem to mean anything in these sort of anime where you have like these like rich, powerful families. A lot of times everyone just calls them that. But just in case, I'm not saying I want to see a brother and sister fuck. I'm just saying that's what it kind of feels like. Again, I don't follow promo material. But then during these series of conversations, we find out Danji and Mirai are siblings, albeit with a fairly big age gap. In hindsight, we probably should have noticed this because their hair is a similar color. Also, their color palettes in general are fairly similar, but that's neither here nor there. And he's like, I want to see her. Well, we got a card fight first. So they card fight, and it appears that she has whatever psychic power they were hinting at is going on with Yu Yu and Megami as well, as they did play a specific sound effect when they switched over to the card fight portion. So I think that's what's going on there as well. But so yeah, then during the fight we find out that Danji had to turn his back on his family, and this to some capacity involved an opponent who wouldn't let him go or let the family go, and this really pissed off the family that Danji left, so they had him declared legally dead to get that situation resolved. And now, in order for the Danji to see Mirai, he's got to pretend to be her bodyguard. I kind of feel like she could pick up on his voice. I know it's insinuated it's been a hot minute, but I sort of feel like, you know, it's not, he probably doesn't sound that different. I hope they don't drag this bodyguard thing out too long. Get it done within the next episode, please, dear God. I really hate these stupid, I need to pretend I'm someone else for reasons. And also it's kind of offensive that he can just walk around there normal and she'll just not figure it out because she's blind. I do like the idea, though, that when he says his name, that's like the ultimate confirmation. Not even his first name is his real name. That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, so then the episode ends. We see that Yu Yu, Toya, and Megumi are trying to then also get information on Daybreak, which is nice. They are doing things for their own show. And all in all, I really quite like this episode. Also, yes, I'm sure many people will point out that it could be insinuated Danji then kind of used Megumi as a surrogate for his own sister, but I'll save the discussion on that more for next week. But yeah, no, this was an episode. I quite liked it, quite like what they're doing with Danji's character, and really interested to see where it's going to go from here. As for the Vanguard question of the week, I'm thinking about doing it. I know it's always the meme in the community, but after going to the Legacy Cup this weekend and seeing how Lyrical has really kind of fixed up the format in a lot of ways, put a lot more variety there. If you get any chance to look it up on Team Gradelock talked about it, Legacy on Facebook talked about it. Healthy as fuck meta, great tournament turnout in terms of deck variety and people in my opinion. But yeah, no, I kind of want to try out Lyrical now. My question to you, what warnings do you have for me going on the Cat Girl journey or Dragon Girl or other girl journeys? Basically, do you play the deck? What do you like about it? Which of the variants do you prefer? I know Dragon Girl seems to be the best, but what won the tournament was Cat Girl. So tell me about that below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me next week as we see Danji trick a blind girl. This might be awkward.